thinking about it.
All right.
There we go.
We're here. We're live.
Live.
Friday edition. 2 p.m. Friday edition. This is good. I like this time. Maybe we should do it 2 p.m. Friday. There's probably more people that are available on a Friday, and if they have work like a 4 10 hours or something like that, or you're just a slacker like I always was on a Friday afternoon. I want to get the heck out of there.
Friday is we had a lot of visitors today on Friday. It seems to be our most popular day for visitors here.
I'm worn out, man. I was doing my thing, Yeah, it was a lot of work, just shaking hands and kissing babies.
I'm glad you mentioned leaving early on Friday, because as soon as the podcast is over, I'm out of here. I got to go to the beach.
Okay, I'll dock that time. Make sure you dock yourself that time.
All right, so let's see here. It's Friday at 2. I have a lot more questions today than usual as well. So I think people, they're on Facebook more, they're out of the office more, they're on Instagram more on Friday. So Friday at 2 might be the way to go.
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Let
us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Thumbs up. Yeah. Likes. Subscribes. Turn the bell. Make sure you smash that bell icon.
If you don't like it, remember you click the thumbs down twice. That's all you got to do. Yeah. Twice is bad.
Yep.
All right. So why are we doing this on Friday? Where were you the past couple days?
Out
of town.
Yeah, I was at the old man gathering, the weird old man gathering, the BMW Car Club of America 50th anniversary Oktoberfest thing. So I wasted 3 days of my life. But I did get to meet some cool people from Shell, so that was good. And I met Vehicle Virals. Christian is a good dude. He'll have a significant. He already has a significant YouTube channel, but he'll go flying by me like everybody else does, as I continue to stick to the plan, stick to what I believe, the long game, and what I think people want my let's call it my people. The people that are listening to this want to see and hear, which is not goofy titles and me asking to smash the like button and like and subscribe. Again, my formula is to assume that you that are listening to this aren't idiots. It's probably a bad assumption for some. Assumption. Then that's what. So people are constantly questioning why would you call your subscribers, your audience, or your fans stupid? Because I don't have fans. I don't have an audience. I have people that we're in a relationship here. I'm sharing my life, and you're watching it. I think when you start to head down that fan path, I have a hard time with being overly confident as it is. I think if I head down that path, then I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like the connotation. I don't like what it makes me think. Because I feel like I'm just in this together with people. And so that was the cool thing about getting a call from Shell, was, I feel like, let's say Porsche called someday. I've talked about this before, how I don't take sponsorship money. And it's tricky because, I spent time with two guys that basically their entire existence is to go and spend certain marketing dollars and spend it to get product awareness out there, and talking about all the different guys that are paid, and I'm thinking, man, I have more influence than most of them. I have a much smaller number of people that are part of our community, but I feel like the community that we have, the people that are following, are much more understanding and above average intelligence and above average bought in. So above average enrolled in what the message, we all identify with what being obsessed is. And so there's I think more value in that than just entertainment value, because I've said this a million times, I'm influencing the people that influence everybody in their lives. So everybody watching this right now, the couple hundred people that'll be live here watching us, every single one of these people, I would wager that 99% of them are the answer person in their life. Their wife, their girlfriend, their mother-in-law, their father-in-law, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their friends. They're the guys, and usually almost all guys, it's like 98% guys listening to this stuff, are the influencers of everybody around them, because you were inquisitive, or experts. And so these guys that are getting paid from, say, a Shell, or getting paid from Michelin, or paid from Manscaped.com, or paid from Cove Speakers or something like that, the guys that are getting paid for that are making a lot of money. And I start to think, I'm like, dang, am I stupid? Am I stupid for not doing this? Now, there's not a freaking chance in the world that you're gonna see me endorsing a Cove speaker. I'll be living in a single wide before that happens. I'd be driving a 92 Civic before that happens. But I mean, I'd be stubborn all the way to bankruptcy. But when you have a Shell, or if Porsche calls, I think that's possible. I don't know how to do it, but it's possible that it elevates all of us. If the Obsessed Garage in general is if there's a sense of stamp of approval, the problem is they're never going to pay me what that's worth, because it's hard to quantify what that's worth using the standard formula of impressions and affiliate links. Well, I'm not sharing affiliate links either. That's freaking stupid. So I'm just out on all of that. I'm just not. It's just no way I can do it. Unless Porsche wants to become the title sponsor of the podcast, I would need companies to be focused on brand, not sales. The sales come, and that's what I think I do a lot of. I'm focused on brand. I'm focused on the message and the community. I'm focused on doing me, and then other people seeing that. I'm focused on influencing the influencers that follow this thing, and that builds a brand and builds an approval, or builds a trust. I don't like using the word trust, but it builds a trust that if I'm endorsing something, one, that no one bought me, and secondly that it's going to be good, and it's tricky for me to maintain that, versus say someone who's like Engineering Explained, or Chris Fix, or these big YouTubers, the big automotive YouTubers, even Scotty Kilmer, that do a lot of affiliate stuff, or do a lot of endorsement stuff, because they don't really have they don't have the brand, I think, that Obsessed Garage is. So it's tricky.
All right, so let's see. I want to get to this question. Actually, this isn't a question. It's more of a statement, but from Z Mill on Instagram. This week, I started ordering my Jimmy John's without lettuce or tomato. Found it much more enjoyable. Thanks for the wake-up call.
You're welcome, sir. You are very welcome.
Yep.
It's one thing that Chris and I are in agreement on.
Yes, 100%. And
it's like the anti-version of our budget.
We're in line, at least when it comes to shredded lettuce.
Although, let me, on a little side there, I ordered a Takis Greek salad, which the base of that is
shredded lettuce.
Yeah,
I don't know how to
and it's one of my favorite things. I hate salads, but what it really is sliced ham and feta with a little bit of lettuce on there just to fill it up, and then doused in the delicious dressing. So I ordered that, and Chelsea was giving me what are you doing? I thought you said shredded lettuce was bad. So anyway,
shredded lettuce is bad.
Apparently, I'm a flip-flopper. I only choose to stick with whatever.
So if Jimmy John's wants to call and offer us, they want to sponsor the podcast, you'd say,
get lost.
All right, yeah, no lettuce. And speaking of that, James Clark, who's in the chat here, he might be on his way back home to North Carolina. He brought us by the public sub ring yesterday. You weren't here. You missed it.
Oh, shoot.
He had the lettuce and tomato on the side.
No one saves me anything.
No, it was long gone. Let's see. This I also want to get to from H. Christopher Hoots. Will the podcast be available by Saturday? I'm running a half marathon on Sunday and would like to have it to listen to during the race.
Can you get that done, Michael?
All right.
Mike says he can get it done.
So
yell at him, Mike@obsessedgarage.com.
Yeah, so Christopher, if you're listening to this right now, that means you're running, and it's been how many minutes? I can't tell. But you're somewhere in the race. Keep it up. You're doing awesome.
I got a residual blood hand. It's the rebleeding from the Corvette project.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's lots of Corvette questions here. I guess the video on the headers came out last night.
Correct.
So let's see. Here's a question from Jason. After working underneath the Corvette, were you able to get to everything you needed on that twin bush lift?
Yep. Yeah, we thought we were going to have to take the ramps off and move the car up to get the header in place, but we actually didn't need to do that. We were just putting it in wrong. So yeah, every single thing accessed, no problem, all the way, all the way back, the whole exhaust tunnel and everything. There was only one bolt that was where with one of these little braces, and it was really simple to reach. So yeah, nothing obstructing us from on the scissor lift to do the headers, which is about as sophisticated of an install as I'm going to get to. We could have dropped the darn engine out of the car if we needed to, if we had the right engine jack. We thought we were going to have to do that, but because it wasn't fitting. You'll see that tonight. Lots more complaining.
That leads to a question here from Raz, who is helping with that project. Having worked on different cars, what is your opinion on the Sonic system? Are there any foam sets you would want to add or wish you would have gotten in the first place?
Well, they don't have anything else, so I have everything that they have. But I think that would be a good project to work on with Sonic, to say, here are the tools that we're missing. Here are the tools that I think we need. That are either they're not in the foam system that you already have, that Sonic already has, or so what I should do is keep an inventory of keep a spreadsheet of every project that I do. What other tools am I using, or am I finding myself having the need to go get and use and get a hold of? Like, for instance, we used what do we call it, an exhaust expansion tool to fix the bent exhaust because it was bent in shipping from UPS punting it off the back of the truck. So I had to go rent one of those. So there's some unique tools that I think Sonic could do really well to put in inserts and make it viable.
I believe they have like a Corvette-specific toolbox or something like that, right?
Well,
or is that just the logo? It's not tool-specific?
It's the logo. It's somewhat tool-specific, but we're not doing that.
All right. Brad, also from Facebook, says, what are some of the reasons you recommend the Sonic toolboxes S9 and S12 over others such as the S13, 14?
It's the drawer design. So the others with kind of the half-circle drawer, the drawers just aren't as nice. They don't close as nicely. They're kind of cheaper feeling. So the S9, S12, S12 XD is a different type of box. It's a different drawer. It's a different enclosure. Those are by far, everybody at Sonic and everybody I've ever come across would prefer to have an S12 or S12 XD. Those are the best boxes. So all the others, including all the way up to the S15, have that kind of half circle. It's just not as nice. So if we're going to go that big, like an S15, what I recommend is let's do an MSS Plus. Let's do their 1540 millimeter box, put wheels on it, and it's just a better design, a better drawer system. So that's why I'd suggest that you S9, S12, S12 XD, or let's do a 1540 MSS Plus and put some casters on it and a top. And make it a portable box.
I want to get to one more Corvette-related question here before I get to that super chat from Littler there. From High Class Detailing, regarding the Corvette modifications, would you say this experience so far is 100% stressful or frustrating, or are you beginning to enjoy the process?
No, I'm not stressed out at all. I mean, because I have no need for the car, so there can be frustration. Like, for instance, we did all this work and I didn't gap the darn spark plugs, and so that headed me down a path to, so I got to check engine light. I'm like, so I probably need to swap the plug wires as well. So I found plug wires, and then Raz is sending me all this other crap that I need to get. So I need to get some sort of shielding for the plug wires. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. And then instead of just doing regular plugs off the shelf like I did, I'm going to get some one step. I didn't know there was a difference in colder or hotter spark plugs. I had no idea. I just buy the Porsche plugs. They're pre-gapped. You put them in, or BMW. Well, on Corvettes, there's 57 different plugs you can get. And so I think they're one step colder, and then I've got to gap them at a certain gap. And so the fun part is learning all these little nitpicky things, all these little things that I'll know that you just don't know. Once you know it, it's so simple. like little quirky things with BMWs that I know that you wouldn't know until you own one and you had to fumble through it yourself. And so these are the things. Wait till you see the spindles install. You guys are gonna be flipping your lids because I break out the sledgehammer. Actually, part 2 of the header, we broke out the mallet and we're whacking away to get the thing in there. And that's probably part of the reason why a lot of this stuff doesn't show up on on videos, but especially for shops, they don't want to show people what has to happen to get the job done. I would fall on the sword. I'm sure the Corvette geniuses will tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then the other Corvette purists will say, why are you modifying the car? It's so funny when I self-deprecate. Like, some people don't realize that they're using the thing that I self-deprecated against me. Like, if I call myself a hack, they'll use that. You're just a hack. So you can't use the word against me that I already called myself. Get something else. It's like I'm almost like teaching them how to insult me. It's funny.
Giving them ammo.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to this question here from Super Chat from Littler. What would your ideal spec of a GT4 be? Loving the new RS, surprisingly interested in the Corvette build.
Yeah, GT4, you're going to do sport buckets. I want black wheels. I want carbon ceramics, full leather, and black PDLS LED headlights. And I'm going to do, I forget what that blue color, it's that darker blue color that I want to get. And that's how I would do it. I'd stick with the silver stitching and base interior. Don't do any crazy colors in there. And I'd skip things like light design, but I do aluminum pedals. Obviously choose floor mats, choose the smoking package, which basically just gives you the covered center console piece. And I'm telling you the exact spec of what I'm going to get. I'm going to make it happen. So when the Corvette leaves, the M5 is going to leave, and I'm going to slow down a little bit on massive car modifications and drive the cars that I love and love getting in, and focus on garage design probably a lot next year, because I'm going to what I want to do is, let's say late next year, I'd like to start building my garage, and if I'm doing that, I'm going to be laser focused, and so I want to have the cars that don't require a whole lot of effort. And so I'll have my M3, which will be done. I'll have my GT3 RS, which will be done, and I'll have a GT4, which will be done. Those will be the 3 cars, and I'll make videos on those like I normally do. But I'm going to take a year off of project cars and focus on the project garage. And then after that, I think, who knows, all this stuff could change. After that, I'd like to do an air-cooled Porsche.
Russell from the chat wants to know, do you have any thoughts on the wheels on the .2 GT3 RS?
Yeah, I'm likely going to do. We'll see how the Vossens turn out on my Corvette. Vossen made a very specific wheel, and this is what got me intrigued in even doing Vossens on the Corvette. I just couldn't find any wheels that I thought improved the look of the Corvette. So I took a flyer on these, and then they have a very specific, very good looking. It's the first set of wheels that I was really excited about getting and trying on my GT3 RS. So I'm either getting those, or I'm going to get FIRs, BBS FIRs for the GT3. But I've got scheduled. I'm going to go do the calipers in a few weeks in Lizard Green, and then I'll leave the stock wheels alone. Excuse me. Got in at 2 a.m. last night, and do just satin black aftermarket. And there's going to be a real sad come to Jesus video coming up here soon with the GT3. You'll see. I'll leave it at that. Make sure you subscribe so you can see it, listen to it.
Will the M3 ever get the water spots removed with all those new projects? Sorry.
Well, yeah, the M3. The reason why I'm not heading down that road is the Colonite and Powerlock is still holding up just fine. So I wanted to. Why not? I spent all the time making it good. The water spots are. I have to get people to stand on their head and touch their nose and jump backwards in order to see the water spots. So I know they're there, and I do want to do that series, but until I need to decon the car and start over. I figure I might as well get a full cycle out of my Cullinite Power Lock combo before I chase that.
Speaking of which, Matt on Facebook wants to know, hey Matt, I'm planning on doing a paint correction followed by Power Lock /845.
Mm-hmm.
Would you recommend putting Power Lock on the trim as well, or solely on the paint?
No, just the paint. Unless it's gloss trim, I would put something else on the trim. I'd put Crystal Serum Light on the trim. Which makes you think, well, maybe you should just do Crystal Serum Light on the whole car.
All right, on similar track here from Just Drive in the chat. I plan on doing the whole 9 yards decon followed by Power Lock in 845. I know for the following washes I should use Bead Maker to dry the car, but after how many washes should I reapply the 845?
Well, a lot of times you won't be able to, unless you're in an area where you just don't end up with a lot of contamination. So a lot of times you won't apply 845 ever until you're going to decon it again. Because once you start to get contamination, then you can't really, you could, but you don't really want to add another layer of wax. You want to remove it, get all the contamination off, do a light polishing, then reapply. And so what you'll likely do is just treat it with Bead Maker. Bead Maker will, hopefully keep the combo of Power Lock, Cullinate on the car a little longer by topping it, becoming a bit of a sacrificial layer. And then you'll just redo it in 9 months or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months from now. Gosh, my freaking shoulder hurts. What the heck?
Uh-oh. Let's see. We have a super chat question from Jim L. here. Hey, Matt, as a fellow BMW fan and owner, but not quite there yet with getting a Porsche, can you describe the feeling / difference between two great cars?
Yeah, I mean, BMW, there's a bit of a fanboyness in BMW, but the BMW stuff is not, it's not comparable to that next level, that next level of cars. It's not comparable to an actual true, higher end sports car. Whereas when you get to Porsche, when you graduate to that step, I hate the term supercar because I think that's stupid. I mean, where do you draw the line? Supercar. It's a dumb term. But you're entering into a completely different class, a different class of everything, a different class of dealing with a dealership, a different class of I guess probably the best way to explain it is remove the rear bumper from a BMW and put it back on, remove the rear bumper of a Porsche and put it back on, and you'll know the difference. Take a piece of plastic off or take a piece of trim off of a 911, take a piece of trim off of an M3 or a 540i or something like that, and you'll know the difference instantaneously. So it's like, for me, it was like I was graduating, but I was still reaching. So I think your first and second Porsche, depending on how frugal and how intelligent financially you are and how much risk you take to get yourself a car that's, overly expensive. Don't use overpriced. It's a stupid term. But a car that's really costly, you start to achieve diminishing returns as you approach, higher and higher end or approach perfection, if you will. So you may not, depending on how early you go, you may not feel as accomplished. You may feel a little bit nervous about it, like I did. So I felt a little nervous because I bought I was planning on buying a $100,000 Carrera S, and it ended up being $130,000 or $127,000 Carrera S, and so that was a bit butt puckery, because I added on the $15,000 X51 package at the very end. But I wasn't really familiar with carbon ceramics at that point. I didn't go to that to add that on because it would have been very easy to get to 140 on that car. And so, I was buying it based on how much I could put down, what my trade was, and what my monthly payment was going to be. So when I talk about that in the other video, you shouldn't do it that way. And because when you do it that way, you don't enjoy it as much. There's a little bit of fear, but then there's also that, I think you'll love the car more when you're at risk. You take better care of it. You tend to park it further away, and you tend to kind of cherish it more. but you also may end up not using it as much because you're nervous about it. So there's a give and take there. So the smart thing to do would be where the monthly payment doesn't matter. That's what I'm talking about when I bought the RS. The monthly payment shouldn't matter. Whether you'd have a monthly payment or not is arguable, or you finance it or not. But I ranted a little bit about that at the end of the last podcast. But there is a bit of I graduated thing, and I hope I can stay here. But when I got mine, I felt like there was a little bit of an imposter. Joe Rogan was talking about that on the last podcast about imposter syndrome. I have that all the time. Like, what am I doing here?
I'm looking around to see if anybody noticed.
Yeah.
Are they going to find out I'm here?
Yeah, when are they going to come take this all away? Who they is, I'm not sure.
Let's see here. Alex in the chat said that Porsche GT4 color you were talking about is called Enzian Blue Metallic or something like that. It was introduced to the new 992 Series Carrera. Let's see. Really enjoyed the latest Hexcast. This is from Connor here in the chat. Great to get your insights on how you plan to develop the OG business. Have you had plans I don't know how to read that, but looking at Lean Six Sigma or similar as part of the development when it comes to employees' efficiency, etc.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if the perfect system has already been created, then why try to reinvent the wheel? I don't know. I don't know about that. I kind of like building my own thing from scratch, and maybe that's not the best way to do it, but building my own systems around it. I don't know that I'm that regimented. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But it does interest me, the lean thing. We remember in the very beginning, I showed you guys the Fast Cap facility, their factory/distribution facility. That would be sort of along the lines of how I would do it, but theirs is a little bit too lean. It'd be hard for me to adopt lean because I like fancy. So in lean, a lot of times lacks a little bit of fancy. Sometimes there's a lot of fancy in certain things, but it also alleviates some fancy from the equation. And I like me some fancy. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd get obsessed with something like that in the future or not.
Let's see. EC on Facebook asks, a recent thread on washing a car inside the garage got me thinking about drainage with Swiss Tracks. If my garage floor has only a slight slope where I would have to sweep the water away after wash, is Swiss Tracks still a viable option?
Well, if you have flat spots or dead spots, like you see in my wash bay where I have that one spot that's a little bit low and always water sits there, the water's going to sit there. So if your floor isn't draining, then it's not going to drain. But if your floor does drain, it will drain. It's channeled so the water can run underneath it. So, but I guess you'd have an extra day of evaporation. I guess theoretically. In the winter when it's really dry, I don't think it would really matter. I think it would evaporate up. Your house would do well by having a little bit of moisture in it. But, yeah, there's not really much you could do. I guess you could try to suck it up through a shop vac. But why not just leave the water there and let it dry? It would be what I would do. Not worry about little puddles of water. As long as it wasn't running back toward like your wooden studs and sitting there. You'd want to make sure that it's pitched enough that water at least runs in the direction you need it to.
All right, Mike on Facebook asks, do you ever worry about the chemicals in detailing? I see gloves used sometimes and other times not used. I use them for everything but car wash soap.
I don't know. Everybody has to draw the line somewhere. I'm sure some people would say, how come you're not using it when you're washing with soap? Soap has surfactants and detergents in there as well, and dyes and scents and things that permeate your skin. What's Rennie Doyle saying is, if it's on you, it's in you. I don't know. For me, it goes by smell. If it smells,
it smells bad enough.
It smells bad, then I'm probably going to die from it. So I try to, or the more sophisticated the chemical is, the more I feel like I should wear gloves. And then you should have a respirator, and then you should have goggles, and then you should have hairnet, and then you should have rubber boots, and you got to draw the line somewhere. And I don't. If I were detailing for a living, I would take a lot more precaution than I do for the once every 2 months when I do some detailing. So I would probably wear a respirator when polishing. I would wear gloves when polishing as well. But because I'm not messing with it every day, I don't feel like I need to do it as much.
All right, here's Zach on Facebook. Wants to know, how can we meet up at SEMA? I own a performance shop, and I'm expanding soon. I would like advice on how to make it obsessed-style performance shop.
I guess send me an email. I try not to nail myself down so much at SEMA because I'm like it's like Chris trying to nail me down here.
I like to wander.
I like to stay in the clouds. That's kind of my thing. Just send me an email. We can book a time. Or
Matt at Obsessed Garage.
I actually prefer to just send me an email. I'll send you my phone number, and you can text me. And if I'm feeling it, then we'll meet up. And if I'm not, then we won't. Instead of I don't like appointments. I freaking hate appointments. So let's just text me, and I'll leave it in my inbox. I'll leave the little red indicator, which drives me crazy, and then I'll get to it. And when I'm feeling like I need to get to it, and which is usually like in minutes, but that'd be the best way. Shoot me an email. We'll book a time to grab lunch or something like that, or take a lap. We can talk about garages, or take a lap over in the flooring and cabinet and lighting area. That'd be cool.
Michelle is here in the chat. What is this? Question for Chris. How can you not like the beach? Question mark, exclamation point. There's something else we might have in common.
Line on this as well?
Yeah, I'll trade and go with Megan for the weekend.
There's nothing good about a beach.
I like the idea of the beach because it's more laid back. Like, people seem to be at ease. You can go to Publix in your bathing suit, like ride around in golf carts and flip-flops and stuff.
I don't like any of that.
I like that. I don't like the beach itself. I don't like sand. I don't want to be hot if I don't have to be.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I don't want to lay in the sun.
You're staying in some white cabinets and blue countertops with seashells on the walls, some wicker furniture. It's terrible. And the couch is just a little bit dirty because everybody's been laying on it with like sunscreen all and sand all over them. And they have that white towel, and the grout's always all moldy and nasty. And the cabinets are just garbage. The TV is like 27 inches. I don't even know where they get those. I guess it's from Walmart. They go to Walmart and they get the cheapest TV they can get. And you're staying, the couch is so uncomfortable. And there's even like the kitchen table has like a stick to it, like it's just like sticky. And they always have like the cheapest, crappiest like steak knives, and you're using that to butter your toast with. Everything about the beach, and they're all exactly the same. People are so unoriginal. It drives me nuts. It's almost like watching the NFL, and now every single quarterback does this. Like, get your own thing. Why does everybody copy everybody? Get your own frickin' thing. Stop copying stuff. Why do people copy so much? I guess people in general are just unoriginal. Yeah. So why does every beach property look exactly the same?
What's
Rochi?
Let me see. Matt in the chat says you got to upgrade where you're staying at the beach. It's probably true.
You can try, but that's the way it goes. Unless you're staying at the Ritz-Carlton, that's the way it goes. Every freaking place is the same.
I'm not staying there.
Well, here's the problem for me though, is that I'm never booking my own beach thing. So Michelle always ropes me into going with somebody somewhere, and then I end up in some I just gross. My feet don't touch the ground when I'm there, ever.
See, this is gonna work out to be a good beach weekend for me because it's scheduled to rain the whole time.
And then when you're at the beach, there's 37 people staying in one house usually, because that's part of the deal, and there's not a shred of counter space. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Like there's Tostitos and there's Oreos and there's just stuff everywhere, and I always feel like crap because when that stuff is around, it's like crack. It's like there's lines of cocaine out there, and I'm a crack fiend. Like, what do you expect me not to snort it? And then I'm at the beach and I feel terrible and I'm white as crap, so I've got to lube up like crazy with pounds of 100 sunblock, and then people are laughing and pointing at me because I'm so freaking white. I've had that happen 2 to 3 dozen times in my life. Like, look at that guy, how's he that white? And then I want to fight him. It's bad. It's so bad.
Oreos at the beach, that's a serious advice for me. After being outside and getting hot and sweaty, you come in and they're like double stuffed, just sitting there waiting on you.
Yeah, and then I eat 45 of them, and I don't want to go back out on the beach because feeling a little all chubby.
He's white and he's fat.
At least I used to be in shape and white. Now forget it. Now you've got no chance of getting me in to the beach.
So there you go, Michelle. I hope we answered your question there. Jeff wants to know, you joked about bad audio settings in cars last week. Can you talk about how you adjust your audio settings?
So, you got to do it by feel. So I always start with flat line, bass, treble, flat, go to 0 and see what that sounds like. A lot of times in any factory system, you're going to be limited in how much bass response you can get. So, this is where you put on Drake nonstop, like I always do, I'm joking, but you put on something that has a lot of bass, and I try to kind of set it based on that. Treble is for me by feel. I'm very sensitive to shrill sounds, and so the treble setting is I'm usually going to keep it warmer sounding, especially if you have speakers that have some sort of metal dome on them, like all these B&O and all these upgraded stereos in cars outside of Burmester garbage. They just put slightly more expensive cheap speakers in there that are usually real tinny sounding, and so you adjust the treble, and then because the tweeter is generally, the tweeter and woofer on the driver's side is generally within inches of your head, and then the tweeter and woofer on the passenger side, assuming you don't have a center channel, is much further away. You generally have to bring the balance of the audio output to the right, depending on the system. Like the GT3 RS, I only needed to move 1 click over. So you want to generally bring balance over so that when you close your eyes, that it sounds like the singer's in the center of the windshield, not over on the left-hand side and the A-pillar on your side. So you want to bring it that I like to keep it centered. Some people prefer to keep it centered over the steering wheel. I'm almost always going to turn off all the bullcrap other stuff, surround, bass enhancement, loudness, auto leveling, so it's turning up and down all the time depending on how fast you're going. So I turn all that bull crap off. That's how I do it.
You don't do the concert hall setting or anything?
No,
like that?
Gosh, no. That's ridiculous. You don't want to do
that. Bryce is chiming in the chat here, and Mike reminded him he's supposed to be on vacation to leave us alone here. Let's see. Bryce, go enjoy your vacation. Let's see. Vinsanity wants to know, Matt, have you ever considered buying a racing simulator cockpit and related gear? I need someone like you to guide me through the many purchase decisions.
No, that's like for babies. I don't really have an interest in playing video games.
Yeah, I think there's lots of resources out there from other people who are into that sort of thing.
I don't know. When I was at Turn 10, and they talk about simulator, it feels nothing like the real thing to me. So, and they have like the best simulator in the gosh darn world, or one of them. I'm in this $100,000 rig, and I'm spinning out the whole time because it feels nothing like what it's like in a car, even with all the setup. So, I don't know. I just find those things that's one of those things that's almost certainly going to you're gonna like punt it in a short period of time. Which is fine. I'm all for chasing something hard and getting rid of it once you're bored with it and being fine with that. I just don't really have an interest in it.
Hi, Matt. What would you recommend for a BMW convertible cloth top? What products? Car's a 20 BMW Z4 M40i.
Just wash it with normal soap and then clean it. Maybe if you needed to dilute D101, like probably 10 to 1, just to use like an interior brush to agitate it if you needed to, but you shouldn't have to do that. So I just wash it like normal with car shampoo out of Adams, and then treat it with Aerospace 303 once in a while, and that's it.
James says, sounds like Oreos is the next thing to bring to OGHQ. That'd be good and bad, James.
Yeah, don't do that to me.
On the sound system note, Matt, you've mentioned how bad satellite and other things like that sound.
Gosh.
What are you using
so bad
as source for your music in the car?
Spotify. So Spotify, you will when you put it in the extreme mode, is 320 kilobits per second, which is close to CD quality. So I guess you could use what's Jay-Z's things, Tidal, but there's not as much content on there. I mean, Spotify kind of owns the market now, so stay away from Pandora. Pandora's I think 192 kilobits per second max. Stay away from iTunes. Downloading most songs are 192 kilobits per second, and I don't in the car because I don't have any good systems. I don't have a FLAC player, FLAC player, but if I did do an upgraded audio system in like the M3 or something, I'd probably have a separate. I'd take FLAC files and put them on a little SD card or something like that. But I don't have a system worthy of that at this point because you have so much background noise and other resonant issues in the car. I find that Spotify generally plugged in with Lightning cable. Rather than streamed over Bluetooth is the best option.
All right, we had two people ask here, including JoJo on Facebook. Are there any updates on the Mosmatic pre-orders?
No, I mean they're due to ship December 4th, and so however long it takes to get there from then, that's the current update on where they're at.
All right. Lazaro wants to know, do you like your Bald Eagle machine any better after the exhaust and drop spindles?
Well, I've got some work to do, which I was pretty certain of. Again, I've got to get the plugs proper. I've got to get the new plugs and wires. I've got to put the wheels on the car. I've got to go get an alignment. So I'm going to get the wheels on and then go get an alignment. The car's pulling to the right after we're hammering on it with a sledgehammer. It certainly looks better. Sounds pretty cool. It's misfiring probably because I didn't put the spark plugs in properly. So I've got some more work to do. Still waiting on the exhaust. I gotta find out about that thing. It shouldn't take that long. Still waiting on the Corsa exhaust. And yeah, I mean it's a little freaking crazy loud right now, but we'll see. I haven't really spent much time in it because it's not running right. But I'll get it there. And I assume that it would go this way, so I'm not disappointed.
Let's see. Matt, do you miss your S2000?
Nope. Been there, done that, chased it, built the exact one I would ever want, and then check it off the list. I thought I wanted to keep all the old cars that I got, the old cars that got away, and now I know.
All right, Jonathan wants to know, with you taking over the other half of the building, how are you going to change the structure of the OG warehouse? Would there be any benefit to installing a 2-post lift on the other side?
No.
Maybe having one side dedicated to filming area with the other side being a strictly warehouse? Have you thought all this out?
No, because I'm only leasing the building, I'm going to just leave it as is over here with my filming area here. 2 posts are worthless, so there's no reason to do a 2-post. I keep saying this over and over and over again. There's virtually nothing that you can't do on a 4-post or on a scissor lift that you can't do on a 2-post. So why would you go there? So that over there is going to be we use for office space because there's another office and entry. So we'll clean out this entry here so we have an actual entry because people walk in there all the time, and then we're going to just make it optimize it for storage. Make it look really cool, but I don't think I'm going to do any doors or pass-throughs or anything like that. And we'll kind of see how it goes, and if I stay here long term. So I did a 3-year lease with a 2-year option afterward, and the first right to purchase, if he decides to sell. I think that we're going to leave this alone and leave the podcast studio here, move as many people over to that side as I can from a media and business perspective, and we'll just do our bulk storage over there and keep everything here, even though it'll be a little less efficient, and we'll just see how it goes. I might change that, but I don't really want to spend a bunch of money on setting that side up. I want to spend the money on the racking.
Gio wants to know, will you be changing out the Verilux lighting for OG Wash Bay 2.0? I saw the recent refresh done on the windows, but I'm wondering if the improved lighting was something still being chased.
Yeah, I'll have my own solution at some point for exterior, like the vapor type. So I'll probably replace those all with LED, even though the Verilux is so great. So yeah, I'll be redoing those as well as the rest of the lights.
Andrew wants to know, out of all the cars you've owned, is there any that you would consider a mistake and not purchase if you could turn back time?
Corvette. It's too late. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Corvette is the only one.
Or is it motorcycle? Does that count? I guess it's not.
Yeah. But I don't regret that. I'm glad I got that out of my system. Got it out early. I obviously shouldn't have bought that silver S2000 because then I bought the other one really quickly, so that was $1,000 mistake. I'm wishing that I bought, instead of chasing the Carbon 65, I'm wishing that I bought the someone's 2,200 mile version of the car, because there's a story behind this one that who the heck knows what it actually is, but it seems to be working fine. It's giving me more work to do, more of a project.
Let's see here. Are you looking to OG spec a detailing stool soon? What are your thoughts on the offerings from Mechanic? That's from Luke on Instagram.
I don't know about soon. I don't know who that guy is, but maybe I should look him up. But yeah, I'd like to have something.
We get a lot of questions about that. People asking which one you use.
Yeah, I use the Griots one, which isn't great, but the Griots one is just a Chinese rebranded, by a bunch of companies. They all are using that same one.
Do you have an ETA on the Vossen wheels, and when you plan to make a video on mounting them? I'm excited to see how they look now that you've got the car lowered.
Yeah, Thursday next week. I'll be mounting them. I bought Pilot Super Sports for frickin' run flat. So stupid. Nobody makes non-run flat tires, and the reason for that is, I was talking to Michelin about this this past weekend, is that the Corvettes are designed for the stiffer sidewall. So the suspension geometry, how the weight transfer, how the car handles is designed to work with the stiffer sidewalls. And so that's why everybody does run flats for these cars. Otherwise, it wouldn't handle properly. Problem is, then you end up with these chunky, heavy, run flat tires, which are stupid. So, yeah. So I've got Pilot Super Sport run flats. They don't make PS4s in that size. I chickened out on the Cup 2s because they're not the normal Cup 2s. They're Cup 2 run flats, which aren't good at all. Unless it's dry.
All right, this question's from Gary. He's been here to OGHQ before. Matt, now that you've seen on your old GT3 RS what a coating is like as it begins to weather, will you rethink coating versus waxing, especially if you own it longer than 2 years?
No, we had an interesting discussion with Expel this weekend about the top coat. And now I don't think I was talking to the foremost expert. I wasn't talking to one of their... I'm sure they buy it from some company in China. I don't know where they get the stuff from, but theoretically, you could just polish off the coating. The other thing that was really interesting was the discussion, and this makes more sense to me now. They're showing the self-healing capabilities, and of course, they came out with their own coating that they're putting on top of the top coat. So, paint protection film is adhesive. Is the bottom layer. The middle layer is the thick layer, which is the polyurethane, plastic layer, and then they put a clear top coat on top of the polyurethane, and that's what helps. Basically, what that top coat is less porous than the normal polyurethane. So what happens with polyurethane is it gets dirty and then turns yellow. and so it's really sort of dirt built up in there that helps it to age and turn yellow. Plus, there wasn't really a whole lot of UV protection there. And so the top coat they put on this thing, which is the third layer, which all part of this same system, is the self-healing layer. And so when you scratch it, so if you take a wire brush or you scratch the surface, much like our table scratched here, and you heat it, the top layer is pretty soft, and so you're basically just moving molecules around, and then when you heat it, you're just causing them to level back out. And so if you coat a top coat, you don't lose the self-healing capabilities, which I wasn't really aware of. You'll still have self-healing. And I've been talking about this for years, that if you have a soft paint and you coat it, you still have a soft surface because the coating has to take on the underlying property of the molecules that it's embedded to or on. Now, a coating could add a little bit of hardness to it, but it's still, if you have a scratch-prone car and you coat it, you're still going to have a scratch-prone car, just maybe a little less scratch-prone. So the same thing when you coat the top coat of a self-healing PPF, you can still self-heal the coated surface because the coating will just follow the underlying surface when you heat it. And so theoretically you could just polish. Now their answer was, well, after 4 years or so, the coating has kind of dissipated and is off. It doesn't work that way, though. It doesn't just, at 4 years, it just magically disappears. It's still there. It just is largely going to be contaminated. So theoretically, you could polish the top coat of a PPF, but I don't know how much is removed. I don't know how that reacts. So I don't know the answer to it.
All right, I want to go back to tires here for just a second because EC asked, which Michelin tires would you recommend for year-round use for a southern-bound car, and do you stick with the same stock size?
Yeah, PS4, and generally not stock size. You know, like on BMWs, I always upsize. But you a lot of times want to stay with stock stagger. You know, so if you have a 20 millimeter stagger and you're not doing suspension modifications like sway bar changes and things like that, you'd want to keep that 20 millimeter stagger. So if you had a 255, 275, you'd go 265, 285. You get upsize as long as you can fit it. So a lot of it depends on how wide the wheels are, how much fender room you have, what your suspension is going to be like, how low you want to go, what sway bars you're going to end up with. And so when people give me a hard time about, you know, I'm not even going to go to the track, you don't even know if you're how can you do better than the Corvette engineers, it's really not that complicated. And a lot of guys on forums specifically, especially if you're dealing with cars that have been around a long time, have already kind of answered the questions for you. You just have to be willing to search for it.
All right, let's see here. We had lots of stuff going on in the chat here. Would you ever consider visiting Germany in the near future, maybe to visit the Porsche and BMW museum or plant, take a run on the Autobahn, or maybe go to the Nürburgring? However you say that word.
I don't want to visit anywhere anymore. Every time I travel somewhere, I just want to stay home and play with my toys. Look how much crap I have out there. Although I'm really disappointed. My frickin' Clausens, and I ordered, they're 23.5 pounds in the front. They're supposed to be like 17. I don't know what the heck's going on. So I've been back and forth with him. He was checking into it. He was sending these things back. And they're silver. They're not gunmetal. They're frickin' light silver. God dang it.
So no more traveling.
Yeah.
No more traveling. It's good, though. Every time you leave, you get all these packages that show up, and I send half of them back, so we get some money back. You don't know what you're missing here. That's good. But you're going, SEMA is I think the last big trip
that
of the year.
I'm looking forward to and excited about. I'm sure I'll end up in Germany at some point, but I don't really have. If I can avoid it for the rest of my life, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Let's see. We had some visitors here at OGHQ today from the G-Technic guys. That came up in chat here. Richard Powell says G-Technic Halo is designed for PPF. Do you know?
Well, remember Halo is a lot like a top coat, right? So it's more EXO-like than CSL-like. Well, I don't know. They're wild about it, but I'm not too excited about it. They brought me a bottle here today because I haven't bought any of it. They're trying to get me going on it, I'm sure. I don't know. I just like CSL. Put CSL on everything.
Let's see. Got a question here. It popped up on Instagram and also here in the chat. It could be the same guy here, Vinsandy. Any update on the PCL handheld digital tire inflators?
Yeah, I've been slacking. It's my fault, not their fault. But yesterday I told them, just give me one of everything. I stopped. I got tired of looking through the catalog. I've been reading the catalog over and over and over again, and so I said, just give me one of everything you got. Send it to me. And you can send it to me or I'll buy it, whatever you want to do. I don't even care. Just get it to me, and so I can touch, feel it, and see what I want to do. Because it's very clear that the one that I have isn't the best option. At least I don't think it is. So I want to see it. I want to touch it, feel it, test it. I'm going to make a video on all of them, and then I'll tell you which ones I'm going to carry, which will be which I would, I'll make a suggestion on what to get. And I'm pumped about those.
All right, we have a super chat here from Nicholas Jones. $5. He says, give Chris $5 so he can buy a cocktail at the beach. That's nice. Sonic Tools.
I will not do that. I will keep the $5. Thank you.
When can we expect an OG spec set of tool trays, minimizing redundancies and maximizing everything OG? Should I hold out?
And don't hold out. I'm nowhere near on that. But someday in the very far future, we might get to Mars at the same time, but I was listening back to what you guys were talking to Brad, and he wants me to do all these collection pages, and I'm like, oh, and you guys are like, yeah, he's never going to do that. Like, I want to do it, though. I want to do it. But look at today. I mean, it's freaking 3 or 4 o'clock already. I don't know what time it is.
3:57, yeah.
How did that happen?
It's a busy morning here.
I'm so tired. I got home at 1 something, traveling. Ugh. I had a very long weekend I'm starting tomorrow.
That was another question that we were going to ask him. When was the last time Matt worked out?
Oh, my gosh. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't taken 2 weeks off in a long time. I'm going to go today, theoretically, but I'm so tired. I might go take a microfiber towel nap.
Theoretically. The theoretical gym trip.
No, I was getting so motivated. Dave Plotz has me on the darn. I was listening to the, what's his name, Cam, who's on the Rogan podcast. He's got me all fired up about elk hunting.
What's that have to do with going to the gym?
Well, where did they go?
You got to be in better shape to track the elk.
Did he take that episode?
Track him on foot.
Must have taken that episode down. His name's Cam something or other.
So David Flotz.
Where'd it go?
Chime in the chat here, Dave.
Yeah, I'm not going elk hunting because I pass out. When they, you just have to cut the spine out of that thing.
Cameron Haynes, H-A-Y.
Yeah.
Says Matt in the chat there.
So the dude, he's running he's doing ultra marathons and stuff. I'm like, and he's like, just freaking run, just get out and run. Nothing bothers me more than when people say, man, I'm not good at running. Of course you're not. No one's good at running. You have to get out and do it. Of course you're not any good at running. You have to work on it. So I gotta get moving on that.
Let's see. Green Tip Academy wants to know, Matt, I'm about to pull the trigger on a 1322 TS.
Smart.
I want to get one of your SS shelves to mount it on. What size do you recommend? Thanks, William.
Well, I would get the one that I have spec specifically for it, which is
18 by 8.
Yeah, 18 by 8 is the correct size. Where there's a little bit of overhang on the left and right, has a little bit of room, but yeah, 18 by 8 is the way to go. You could put it on something bigger if you wanted to have some other things on that shelf, but the 18 by 8 is the way to go. But you'd want 8 inches deep. Let's see. What are the main differences you notice between Corvette owners and Mustang owners? Adam wants to know, if any. They're much more vocal. Again, I haven't owned a regular Mustang, and it seems like the GT350 is in a different... there aren't many Mustang guys that own a GT350. People that own GT350s are sports car guys, track guys, sports car guys, autocross guys, Porsche guys, BMW guys, just car enthusiasts in general. And I would push myself toward the car enthusiast side of a BMW Porsche type, because I do like a lot of other cars, and I'll probably end up owning a lot of other cars throughout this life that I'm living. But there are some really odd Mustang owners too. I find Mustang owners tend to be a little bit more meatheadish, a little more type A, a little more drag race type, where Corvette guys are a bit more balanced when it comes to handling versus speed. But in general, Corvette dudes are a little bit more naive than I think. I think Mustang owners as a whole. I'm generalizing here. This is my stereotyping of it. I think Mustang guys as a whole are more educated on their cars than Corvette guys, in all aspects of it. But that's just my experience, and that may or maybe that's not very scientific. But Corvette guys are very heritage, and you can't improve this. Where I find that in general, Mustang guys are trying to improve the car. A lot of it has to do with a Corvette out of the box is probably better. It is better. It's considerably more expensive. Mustang out of a box is what, $30,000-$40,000. A Corvette's $50,000-$60,000. So we're in a little bit different class. But I find that I enjoy Mustang people much more in general.
Let's see. Just Drive wants to know, when is the next OG mountain trip? Joined the group 2 weeks ago, and I'm hooked. So I brought it up the Facebook group here because there's already a calendar event for next year, actually. June 14th to June 17th.
There you go. Shane's got it licked. What? I'm bringing the Corvette, bro.
Yeah, so he won't have the Corvette June 2020.
You don't think I'm going to have it that long?
No.
No, the plan is to have it. Yeah, there's a good chance it won't be there.
Yeah. I'll bet you that $5 you owe me from that super chat.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're not on Facebook, Just Drive, just email us and we'll send you the info. But June 14th through 17th, 2020. Let's see.
I'm like literally going to fall asleep on this table here. What the heck is wrong with me? I'm fired up. I'm answering questions, but I'm hurting.
We need to get the Mountain Dew back in here. Will you consider offering commercial steam cleaners such as Dupre, Tosca, or Hill?
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I really love the Dupre, man. I think it's my style, but I haven't tried a lot of the other ones. I've seen some of the less expensive ones. I know I don't like those, like the McCullough. And there's another one. That one guy sends me an email like every other week about some other weird one that I don't know. Just not really interested in it. But the Dupre is really nice. I like it. Working really great.
So maybe Luke. He does like them, and
yeah.
Sometimes we like stuff and we can't sell it though, for lots of reasons.
Yeah, ego blower. Come on, people, get your crap together.
What is the downside to using the absorber over microfiber? Logic would be that the car is clean, right? It would seem if there were dirt still on the car, it would scratch with either drying method. What is your thought?
No, because an absorber is not particularly. You have more drag from that. So, and if you did get a piece of dirt or dust or something on a microfiber towel, it's going to likely get pushed into the fibers, whereas an absorber is going to sit right on the surface. Yeah, absorber would be bad news if you don't want scratching.
Let's see here. Diego wants to know, who will the next podcast guest be?
I don't know.
I think there were some folks earlier asking they saw Pan on the Hexcast that you interviewed him. They want to know if you had anybody else lined up.
I didn't. I don't. I mean, it seems like every other podcast is just an interview show. I don't know. I don't have anybody slated. I'm only interested in me. Just kidding. I don't know. I do think I'm pretty decent in asking questions that, at least that I'm interested in hearing. So maybe I should do that more. But the podcast is doing really well. I'm surprised. It's the best it's ever done. We do get quite a few. How many people live do we have?
350.
Yeah, so I mean, in the live stream world, that's a pretty decent amount. And then we'll get 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 views on YouTube, and then another, let's say 5,000, 6,000 downloads of every episode. That's pretty legit, for a podcast that we kind of do as an aside thing. But I found it very therapeutic to keep people up to date with what's going on, to answer these questions. I'm really pleased that people ask the questions. It gives me a chance to yell and scream about stuff at times. But yeah, the podcast has been doing. I forget where were we. What was the question? What was
just about guests? If you had anybody that.
Yeah. So I don't have anybody in mind.
We need to get Michelle back on here one day. That was a very popular episode when she was here. Kevin asked an important question here. Would you ever eat Oreos in your car?
I'm sure I have before.
Desperate times.
Well, no, the Publix run. So I've eaten many things in the car. So
just not cheeseburgers.
So I'm going back on the Eating for Life program starting today, and Eating for Life has a binge day, and so the binge day I go grocery shopping on the weekend, which I've gotten away from. I know that if I don't participate in it and I just show up and eat, I don't do very well. But if I plan it and become a part of it, I do well. Or if I have a chef, I should go back to that again and find somebody. But I got lazy on trying to find somebody because it's not easy to do that, to find what I'm looking for. So I don't even know where I was going with that. But So
Oreos in the car. So what do you?
Yeah. So I'm like fiending for whatever it is, because I'm usually hungry and I'm on the cheat meal. And I'll eat an entire bag of chips, the Publix is like 1.3 miles from my house. An entire, family-sized bag of, barbecue chips or something. And then I'll usually break into the cookies before I even get home. I'm dying of thirst.
Because God forbid you have water in your car.
No, what do I need water if I'm going to drink when I get
wash
home?
Down the bag of chips you just ate.
It's 1-point-something miles. What do I need water for? Why do you have to drive around with water everywhere? How many water bottles do you have in your truck right now? 6?
0.
4?
Megan has a 24-pack in the back of her car, but I just carry this.
Yes, so doesn't that melting plastic leach into the water
Probably.
in the boiling sun? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if and when she dies one day, it'll be because of the water.
Well, think about that. All that weight, your car's driving a lot slower. You've got an extra 8 pounds or 12 pounds of water in there. Get rid of that. You're literally throwing off your 50-50 balance.
The Rag Company chimes in with some ideas for you here. For a sweet treat, try sugar-free Jell-O topped with sugar-free whipped cream.
Get out of here.
That's from Anthony.
Nobody wants that, Anthony.
Yeah, that's garbage.
You know what I want? I want peanut butter M&Ms in a 2-pound bag. That's what I want. That's a sweet treat. That's a little appetizer for you, a little morsel.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Noe wants to know, did Chris buy the new car? Yes, I got my new ride. We'll have more on that later. It's pretty nice. Way nicer than the Camry. Any update on EMDR? Haven't heard you mention anything in the Wash and Talk videos.
Yeah, I made a darn video on it, and then I deleted it accidentally. So with my, it's not EMDR. I'm not doing EMDR. I'm doing ART, which is a derivation of it. Yeah, it seems to be doing pretty well. I've got my my neurosis isolated down to just going to the dentist or the doctor. And even then, sometimes I can pull out a decent experience. And I have a teeth cleaning. Gosh, I'm so tired of this dentist bull crap. I got a teeth cleaning on Thursday, so we'll see what happens there. And I I'm down to 50 milligrams of Luvox, hoping to be off of it by the end of this year. To be back to normal, and I should see a byproduct of some weight loss if I can get moving here. Again, I was getting real motivated, and now I'm like, I'm going to take a microfiber towel nap for sure.
Let's see. Blake has a good question here from Facebook. Have you and Kyle considered coming up with a garage planning guide that can empower people who haven't done it before to plan out their own garage using your products. This may be particularly helpful on smaller projects where it doesn't make sense to tie up precious resources from your team. Things like you should space your lights at X foot intervals, you should place your water for the Krenzla X inches off the ground, you need X amount of width for the mount. Just thinking out loud as I'm currently going through some planning for my build that's underway. Thank you for all you do.
Yes, through several different facets. One, would be through, blog posts that we'd kind of pin in certain areas of the website. But I need to do some organization as well to the site. It's getting a little bit out of control. There's a lot of stuff there. So a lot of that organization would be done in the collections area, the top of each page. And that's where I want to have schematics for things and having garage schematics and a step-by-step type guide. Exactly what you're explaining is what I'm planning to head toward. We're going to be slowing a bit in the product creation part. And so now we're going to do product improvement. And improve the flow and help explain better and do some videos to support that and create things like step 1, choose your flooring. Here's some tips. Step 2, let's choose your lighting location. To help people with design. Because you're right, having videos and having how-to type guides will help to alleviate the amount of work, which is what adds scalability to it, and you can sell an infinite amount of stuff if doesn't require a lot of time. Because a lot of us don't want that anyway. We want to do it themselves.
Russell here in chat says the hazelnut M&Ms are his new addiction. Have you had those?
I'm not really a hazelnut kind of guy. That's kind of a coffee thing.
I like the peanut butter.
I always equate hazelnut to coffee. The problem with peanut butter is that I'll eat 37 at a time.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Uh-oh.
What do you got? Battery's dead?
Let's see. I wonder if you can still hear us. If you can hear us, type in something.
Yeah. So, anyway, he's going to swap the battery here. What else? We're about to wrap up here, aren't we?
Chris, when can we get a wash and chat with a new truck? You can talk about bourbon and college football. When he's gone for SEMA, we're going to do that. Hey, they can hear us. That's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any updates on the Pressall 2.0 bottles? Yes, they're somewhere
in the world.
In the Atlantic Ocean right now.
Yeah.
Or I should say on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. Somewhere in transit.
It's been it's always interesting process handling orders with people when you don't share the same first language.
Yeah.
Things get lost in communication, and we're like, okay, we thought you said this, but you didn't, but they're on the way. We do know that much. Let's see. Matt, after you get a car dialed in, including coding and everything else, how soon does the OCD kick in the next time you get a rock chip?
Well, I've been selling cars when that happens, so I'm not the best person to ask. I don't know. I try not to micromanage it because it just stresses me out. So, and I don't, cars aren't as important to me today as they once were. We talked about that quite a bit, where I've got this passion project that I'm building. So the real obsession is Obsessed Garage as a whole, and so it's required me to afford less energy on any one individual thing, and so that's been a big change for me over the course of the last several years as I've become more of a global thinker rather than a micromanager. It's easy to micromanage when you're micromanaging yourself. But when I have a bunch of people and a bunch of stuff going on, I've had to let things go. A good example would be kids. When we had kids, I stopped micromanaging the cleanliness of everything around me, and I've kind of let go. I still much prefer to have it dialed in and not to have issues. And I'll have periods where it'll ball up and I'll explode because there's freaking stuff stuck to the walls or something crazy. But I've made things like I used to walk around in my bare feet all the time in the house. I just don't do that because I don't want to feel the little things that are touching my feet. So I've made sacrifices and compromises, largely, again, because I'm thinking much more globally than I used to. And when you think globally, then you stop worrying about some of the little minutia, which then in turn can lead to slippage, but there's certain things that I just don't let go. Like my cars are clean and they're dialed in, but they're not as if that was my only thing going on, where it'd be cleaned, twice a week.
All right, so audio videos all back good. Hey, there's our friend Chad in the chat, future GT3 RS owner. One day. Let's see, I wanted to get to this question. What other cars are you considering for these types of build-experience-giveaway or sell? I heard Dundon's working on a 987.2 981 parts, so those would be interesting. Maybe an old NSX or a Z4M coupe.
Yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy much more the garage giveaway thing and leave the cars to just wasting money. Or maybe just do some sort of car giveaway once in a while, like once every couple of years, if there's something that I have a real passion for that I don't want to own longer term, that I'd like to do really, really correctly and not lose my shirt. But I just don't think and I may change my mind here, but I don't think the Corvette raffle would be very successful, because I think the lion's share of the people that listen to me aren't Corvette fans. And so there are a bunch that are, but not nearly as many as were at BMW of sorts. And even some that aren't interested in the Corvette would still want to support the cause. But I think that I'm just not going to be as excited about it. Who knows? But maybe that'll change. I am starting to get interested in all these little minute details. But it's different for me. So I'm digging into the minute details of searching forums and Google searching and just kind of internet digging for, okay, I need plug wires. What do I need? I need an MSD 8.5 millimeter, and there's certain style, certain type. And with Corvettes, everything is hard to find. It's so ripe for one website to just tell people what to do. I mean, it'd be so easy to do. And it's like I had to, the website that sells the plug wires doesn't sell plugs. This would be so easy. Just sell them both as a kit. Here's the kit. Here's what you need. And I had to dig so deeply and figure out what to get. And it even says the plug wires are for a C6, but they're not. So I had to figure out the model numbers and do all this digging and all that work. But what I'm finding is with the Corvette, it's I got to get this done because I want to be able to drive the car and get it done. With a BMW, it would be like an event. I'd prepare. Okay, tonight, can't wait to go sit on the couch, turn on Thursday Night Football, and kids are in bed. Michelle's leaving me alone. She's working on editing photos or something. And I can just sit there clean after a shower, after a good workout, after eating a pound of Oreos when I feel sorry for myself. But then I sit there and I just start digging. And I'm digging into figuring out what wheel spacers are going to get for my BMW. I'm not having that same feeling with the Corvette as I have with the BMW. But I take it back because I did that quite a bit with the headers and stuff. And building my list, but it doesn't feel quite the same. There's not the same. It's just not as much passion. I like it, but I'm not as passionate about it. So it doesn't feel, because every other car, every Porsche, every BMW has been more permanent for me, whereas the Corvette is very clearly very temporary.
All right, you mentioned the garage giveaway. I want to get to that in a minute here before we close, but there's one more question from Raz that popped up here. What is your stance on ricotta cheese, and why is it the shredded lettuce of the cheese world? So I didn't know if there was some background information there.
Ricotta I don't dislike as much as cream cheese, which really isn't cheese, is it?
Cream or cottage?
Cream cheese.
Okay.
I don't mind cottage cheese.
That's similar to ricotta, I think. If
I don't like any low fat. Don't drink low-fat milk. That's a waste of time. Tastes like crap. Fat doesn't make you fat. It just doesn't. It's denser in calories, but fat doesn't make you fat. It's eating too many calories, too much carbs, too much junk. That's my entire existence. So, anyway, I don't dislike ricotta in certain instances, but
lasagna?
I hate lasagna.
Oh man, lasagna is awesome.
If you could take lasagna and you make like mozzarella and provolone, I'm in. Put provolone in between. Why are we putting... Bleh. Makes me gag. So I'll dig the ricotta out. But the concept is great. The sheets of pasta, lots of cheese on top. Get rid of the meat. Like the meat sauce is gross.
There's some sausage in there.
Meat sauce is gross. So basically, I don't want the lasagna at all. I want
just the noodles.
I want to separate everything out. Give me sheets of noodles with some butter on it. Give me some mozzarella cheese, to eat separately, and a cheese stick. And hold the sauce. Hold the ricotta.
This doesn't sound like lasagna.
Hold the nasty meat. There's nothing worse than sauce and meat together, unless it's sausage. But if it's like ground beef in sauce, grosses me out.
So deconstructed lasagna is what you want. You just pick and choose.
Yeah, I don't like mixing all this stuff together. No, keep it separate. Okay. And get rid of the stuff that's nasty. Certainly don't put anything like peppers or onions or anything like this. Yeah, you don't want any of that stuff. But yeah, lasagna is not good.
Ooh, lasagna is delicious.
Here's a rant for you.
Here we go.
So, what's people? You know how like people have like their go-to dish, their go-to slop. There's nothing worse in this world than a potluck where everybody makes their go-to simplest garbage. Why don't you just go to Publix and buy something pre-made?
Green bean casserole.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got the broccoli casserole.
Yum. Cornflakes on top.
And then everybody, it's the same thing like when a girl gets a haircut and like all of her friends, this looks hideous, and all her friends have to like go crazy commenting how great it is. Like, no, you look stupid. Go back to the old haircut. The old haircut was fine. Now you look stupid. Instead, because it looks stupid, then they have to say how great it looks. It's the same thing with food. Because it's nasty, everybody has to say how great it is. Taking like, graham crackers and spritzing them all over this nasty
cornflakes too.
Oh yeah. I've never even come close to taking a bite of anything like that in the history of my life, and never will. I'd rather starve to death than eat some vomit. It literally looks like someone vomited out broccoli and then put some cornflakes on top.
What if it were like Cinnamon Toast Crunch instead?
No. Don't mix stuff. Don't mess up something good with some frickin' green beans.
Oh, man. Alex says it sounds like Matt orders off a kids menu at restaurants.
No, I order off the intelligent menu. I don't want any stuff mixed in there. Like, let's keep it simple.
Matt cuts the crust off of his bread.
No, I like crust. Why would any? That's a heathen. That's blasphemy.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't like jelly. I just like peanut butter.
Jelly?
But sometimes I can do peanut butter and jelly. But generally, I would prefer to have a peanut butter sandwich. Hold the jelly.
No honey? Peanut butter honey?
It's okay. But don't put bananas and strawberries on a freaking waffle. Just give me a waffle and then give me bananas and strawberries separately. But back to potluck. Like, what in the world? I will never host anything like that as long as I'm alive. Don't bring stuff. I'll just do it. If I'm hosting, don't bring your crap. I don't want it. And don't bring any alcohol because I don't want you getting out of control at my house and tugging on me and stuff. Keep that stuff at home. Keep it away from me. So when we have the OG Christmas party, we're not bringing potluck. Don't bring your go-to dish.
I'm gonna bring some bourbon and start hugging you.
Don't bring your go-to dish because we don't want that. Nobody wants that, and everybody's gonna have to comment. Oh, this is so delicious. No, it's not. It's freaking got cornflakes on top of it. The only thing good with cornflakes is if you're eating it with milk, whole milk, not skim milk.
Man, now the chat's gotten out of hand too. Danny is 7-layer salad with dry ramen noodles. That's bad. Pineapple on pizza. That argument.
Oh, what's the one like dessert where they layer like they put some pudding and then they put some
like
whipped
pretzels.
cream and then another layer. What? No. Just no. It's gross. And people just slop it out like, oh, this is wonderful. This is so delicious.
Like something your grandmother made a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like, it's
she
like
couldn't taste anymore.
The white trash fancy desserts like creme brulee and tiramisu. Just gross. Just give me some freaking vanilla ice cream, for gosh sakes. Why do we need this fancy crap? I want to be fancy everywhere I go. Just cut out a piece of a pie and give it to me. Why do we got to have all this weird crap on top of it? Top it with some
sugar-free whipped cream.
With some strawberry vomit on there, on top of it or something. Mess it up.
Oh, man. All right, so, yeah, and Bryce back in the chat here begging for likes in the chat. That's funny. Yeah, we got 2 likes. No dislikes. That's good, I guess.
2 likes.
2 likes. Twice as many as last week.
How are we going to get views? No one's going to watch it.
Oh, that's good.
I'm going to have to quit life because I'm not getting any. We need more super chat money.
All right. So the garage giveaway is going to start up. It goes live on Sunday, the 20th.
So I better make a freaking video. I might make one myself.
Yeah, I think you did make one.
Did I?
Yeah. For the email. And we're going to.
Oh, yeah. I want something way better than that. I need to do something for the YouTube channel.
That's different.
We need Bryce to get his butt back to work. He's messing me up.
You were gone all week too, so
yeah. What's he doing? What's he doing? He's just taking naps all day.
He's sitting out there in his truck, just laughing at us right now.
No more vacations, Chris. Take that off the schedule. I don't want to go anywhere ever. This is what I'm going to do from here on out, just to mess with people. I'm going to send one of you guys in my stead, and you're going to show up. Yeah. You're going to show up and have to
pretend like we're you.
Waste time. Hide in your hotel room from humans.
I can do that.
All right. You better get me off here before I say something bad again and get in trouble.
Bryce says he drove by like 50 times. The garage giveaway is coming. There will be merchandise you can buy, much like last time. You can join the membership program to get entries. Matt's going to make a video with all the details.
Oh, it's going to be so good. No sales pitch. I'm telling you, this is like the coolest freaking thing ever. Could you imagine? Could you imagine you're like 20? If I can't even imagine if my Claremont house, I was 26, and we took our life savings and put it down on the house, and I had like a 2-car garage, and could you imagine if the 40-year-old version of me showed up with like $80,000 worth of the coolest frickin' stuff in the world? It'd be amazing. It's going to be so cool. I got to figure out a way to make sure that I game the system to where somebody wins it that has a garage. I'll go to jail for that.
All right, here we go. One last super chat. Another $5.
Nice.
I appreciate the food rant. Best thing I've heard in a while. Maddie, you're the man.
Potluck. Freaking potluck. Well, we were at the BMW thing, and of course... You know what we had? A dining hall reception
have some
with wedding food. Yeah, some chicken cordon vomit, and some beef stroke me off, and some tiny little stupid potatoes that taste like crap, and
bad
some
green beans.
Nasty, yeah, exactly. Green beans laying on top to try to look fancy. I mean, we're staying at the Hyatt. This isn't, This is trying to look fancy, and of course, what's everybody do? Oh, this is wonderful. This is the worst beef, whatever crap I've eaten in the last 6 months.
There you have it. Thanks for tuning in this week. We're gonna enjoy our weekend. Hope you enjoy your weekend.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Garage giveaway starts on Sunday.
I'm gonna start working out tomorrow.
You heard it here first. Tomorrow.
I'm going to start singing that song. That should be our outro. It should be our outro. Annie's tomorrow. All right, people. Before Chris starts singing, let's get out of here.
I'm going to the beach.
See ya.